All right, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. It is 6:30, October 19th. My name is Scott Rudler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com. Sorry, this week I've been off the desk on the road. A bunch of my friends turned 50, so we went to Utah. A little hiking in the mountains, a little testing yourself, little, this little hanging out. But again, I was able to, write a few notes early in the morning, do a few charts, make a few adjustments to the trading accounts, and do a little bit of everything. I did come back on a red eye last night, came to the office today, went on Fox Business yesterday, and we had a big trader event last night, which was great to see. Just want to let you guys know, if you are part of a trading firm and or part of a group, what I would suggest is get out a little bit. It was really good. If you have like 30 different traders that have been trading for over 25, 30 years, flying in from different places, and everyone discussing some things that are working, some things that are not working, and even just like kind of venting to the fact that, let me just make sure this is working, that it's been a tough year. Everyone on TV, the S&P's up 11%, the Nasdaq's up, 32%, but meanwhile, 85% of the market's been in a corrective / real bear market for maybe since 2021, to be honest. And then, they get into that mode within one candle, Hold on a second. I just want to make sure that this is working. Because I see something kind of just going like this. All right, I think it's working. Anyway, so let's get to it. So you had two earnings reports, right? Last night you had Netflix, which was pretty impressive, and then you had Tesla, which missed on pretty much every metric. But people knew it, but still the reality of just the miss and the year-over-year slowdown with a high PE. It's just they tried to rally and just couldn't. So we'll see how it goes today. So if you look at Netflix, it's kind of funny how the market works, right? Literally, I think Netflix since September 12th has just worked lower from 436, all the way down to 345. So you're talking about almost 100 points of just every day traders trying to play a bounce or not, and just was working lower, no interest in them, and boom, back up to 392. So some people are like, where's all the resistance? This is an area. This 395 probably will be a hard area to get through today. So people are like, Red Dog, did you take the lotto spread into Netflix? I did not. I didn't take any options into Tesla or Netflix. I was like, you know what? I don't have FOMO in either one. Both were kind of set up Netflix more because it's been like kind of left for dead for some type of reversal move. And if you did catch and you took some options, congratulations. If you didn't, what I usually do is stock gaps up, just say at 392, hits 395 and pulls back down to 392. There are some people that would short, thinking that it's not going to hold up 46 points or 13%, and it's going to sell down. So that's one way people who are fading the move would do. And then another school say, okay, to 393 real quickly in the first 15 minutes, it pulls down to 385 and then bounces to 387. And someone say, okay, I think that's the low of the first 15, 30 minutes. I'm going to buy versus that and then see if it actually, closes closer to the highs or the lows today. What I might do is I'm going to watch it for sentiment, and then usually, the day after, you get to see what the high and the low was, how much of the gap didn't get filled, and then you could figure out some good ways to make money the day after, the craziness of market discovery. So with that being said, watch this 395 area. All the moving averages are a little bit lower even, and this probably will be some type of resistance area. This zone 3, just say, and then we'll see tomorrow more of like what type of gap is there. So then let's flip to the other side. Okay, you have Tesla. By the way, like here, you see how they get this big gap down, and then this was actually this was the big gap down, and then it continued lower once it got below the post earnings date. Anyway, Tesla I'll probably look at a lot closer. It really hasn't been that beat up. From 299, 278, 266, closed pretty weak last night after hours. It got rejected into this 247, 248. So now Tesla is right here. It's at 230. So it's a tale of two different stocks. So 230, if you look here, this is 234. This is the 200-day. So I guess you'll see this is the EMA, not the simple. We'll see if this spot holds, which it's below right now. So that's like, this is 232-ish. This pivot here was 234-ish. So this is one spot. If Tesla, just say, again, this is how I would approach it. Just say Tesla comes in the first 5 minutes, puts a low in at 228, bounces off of it to just say 230-ish. And then, the SPYs come in, the tech comes in a little bit, and you see a positive divergence. Say, hey, you know what? Maybe Tesla's that's down 12 will fill half that gap. So then you could buy 230s. You're risking $2. That's your point of reference. And then maybe it fills a big portion of the gap. Or, it goes to 228, bounces to 230. You buy some versus 228, then it breaks 228, and then trends down all day. And like, okay, I got to get out of the way. And then if you look lower, this is 220-ish, okay, which is another spot. So you just want to always map out a few areas, right? That's where this little mini gap is, and then there's 212. So this would be one spot-ish, and then this would be, another spot. Chances are, if Tesla opens down, 12 and closes down 15, and that's a major gap to the downside, and it can't fill any of it today, then it's going to probably be out of play and trend down for a little while before they start looking towards the next quarter. But if Tesla opens down 12 and closes down 3 or 4, there'll probably be some good trades there, and and then maybe there'll be a gap fill trade, and there'll be other things to do. So anyway, those are those two. So that's where there's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot of a lot of volume, a lot of people looking. And then on the flip side, there's really not a whole lot. Microsoft is trading better than most things, but it's still choppy. Yesterday Microsoft tried to be strong all day, and then kind of closed poorly, still above this 327, and then this morning, Microsoft is back up 277, just like that. That's how choppy it is. If you thought, hey, Microsoft is going to play catch up to the downside because it's been holding in and went out short because it closed, on the lows of the day pretty much. Now you're getting squeezed. If you were long it saying, hey, it's going to hold in here and then go higher, and then you saw the way we closed in the dead lows yesterday, in the Qs and the SPYs, and get out of it. Now you're like, oh, I got out of it. That's kind of the frustration that's happening. That again, the violence in these little ranges that that are just day to day. Look here at the SPYs. SPYs yesterday broke this little inside area. So if you were playing for it to go sideways and continue to test this, this downtrend line, you pretty much had to get out yesterday, right? I said, I wasn't actually the 630 club yesterday, but I was like, you had a really good Wells in Utah. I bought the SPYs and a few things on Tuesday, went from red to green. And then yesterday, I'm like, it just doesn't feel like we're going to be able to do that same trade again. And it was a choppy day to the downside. So anyway, what was the point of reference? So it broke 432.45. Then broke 431 and hit a low of 429. So this is your, the low from yesterday, 42.09. So right now the SPYs themselves are, back up 430.36. So I would say, this would be resistance 1. This would be resistance 2. If all of a sudden the market acts a little bit better today. So we put this like this. So you want to map out. If you're playing a bounce and you think it's just going to be, an over or sold little bounce that's going to get rejected and roll over, you have 431.24 and then 432. If we open lower, like at 427-ish, chances are maybe you could have been, a buyer for a little bit of a bounce. So today's open isn't the easiest for an active trader. It all depends. So, it's not a great setup. So you'll see, does Netflix hold the majority of this up move? And does Tesla, it stayed out low? And then obviously you could look at your SPYs and a bunch of other things. Meta, it's an interesting spot. I made good money the last few days actually buying Meta, the weakness, and now it's getting tight. So the question is, do they want to keep some stocks holding in there pretty well? And Meta's been holding in there pretty well. But if we're going to hold in there, chances are this hangs in here and just kind of negates that candle. If we're going to continue to the downside, it probably then breaks below this. What is this low here? 315.56. So let's put that in here. 315. Just so you know, also Powell is speaking today at 12 o'clock. So at 12 o'clock, he's probably gonna maybe be a tiny bit dovish, you would think, but he's going to higher for longer, higher for longer. They're still trying to really, beat up inflation, which they haven't. And you have yields at levels that we haven't seen since 2006, 2007. It's a little complicated. The TLTs have been something, that have been good to watch for the way the computers are programmed. Yesterday was a little odd. Yesterday it looked like, the TLTs wanted to do a red dog reversal where it reclaimed 84.06. So at that time I actually bought some. That was the auction. There was an auction. Now we have to watch auctions. Every market cycle is different things you got to watch and overemphasize on. So bottom line is, you had a little bit of a red dog reversal as it reclaimed this 84.06 after making a low here at 83.85. So the market tried to bounce, but then it just was that weak. So we'll see what happens today. That you have the TLTs. Let's see where the TLTs are. Down 80 cents at 83.60, below 83.85. So if all of a sudden Netflix holds up, Tesla comes off lows, TLTs reclaim 83.85, after a huge move to the downside, maybe that helps the market hold up today. But I don't even know what that'll even do, because again, we're just choppy back forth. Like someone's like, Red Dog, did you see the Jets? I'm like, yeah, they're 3-3 going into the bye weekend. They're like, no, Jets, the ETF for the airlines. Look at that. That is nuts. From the July high, all down below the 8. That's why I always talk about the 8 and 20 when they're moving average, all the way down. These stocks have gotten absolutely annihilated. Holy cow. So right there, S&P's up 11% for the year. Okay, well, actually, but look at the difference in the trend here. That's another thing to kind of learn from. This is when the airlines were a good trade in June. They broke out, held the 8-day momentum. Here was your reversal, and then boom. Someone's like, Red Dog, did you see Morgan Stanley? Morgan Stanley, 2023 low. Okay, not that healthy. Bank of America, right? This thing, you can go to the weekly chart, and see that, like, Bank of America. Look where this is. This was last year's October low. We're well below that, almost at the pandemic area. So a lot of anybody who bought Bank of America during that move. So I can see why there's frustration. I'm a little frustrated too. A lot of traders are about to take one and a half steps forward and then 2 steps back. 1 step forward, 1.25 step back, and it's just been kind of like that because even like on Friday, we were talking about Friday. Today's Thursday, so I shouldn't be talking about last Friday. But last Friday, the market felt like death. Closing the lows seemed like, okay, we're going to go back to 4,200, and then guys were going, Red Dog going short. The Middle East, crazy tension, friggin' terrorist attack on Israel. You're going to do more. Oil's up. What if they do? And then you come in on Monday, and the S&Ps are up 30 handles, and then they go up 45. So they lost short. Got out of longs because it felt that way. That was Friday, right? If you go back to Friday. By the way, this is your weekly chart. Let's just go to the daily for a second. This is how it closed, I believe, on Friday, right? And then you get a gap up here, and then then just choppy back and forth. It's just been really that kind of trade. Commodities have been stronger. If you look at oil, oil's had to move up. A bunch of different gaps. What's oil doing today? Something to watch. Down a bit, 79.07. So see if oil holds this gap. Remember to hold this gap area. So if you were buying USO or oil. That was a good gap to trade against. This probably gets filled, So if that gets filled, oil goes down. Usually the computers are buying a little bit of tech. Gold, a lot of people have made good money in gold. Gold's been very tough. Remember this breakout failure, and then it was down every day, and then obviously when you have a terrorist attack like we had against Israel, then some of the crazy volatility trade happens, and now you had a big move from, remember we talked about the 168.30 buy here up to a doji. So this doji usually means it needs to come in, and maybe see a little bit of a retracement. What's gold doing this morning? The GLD is it's flattish. Bitcoin had a decent move. So there are things working, so I'm not, and if you are patient, there are a few things that happen during the week that can make you calculated cash flow versus over trading and forcing things. Some people like Red Dog, look how good the XLE is. Okay, it's definitely a better sector than the airlines and the banks. It's still, if you want to just look at it, it's still in this, 2-year range, okay, which usually by the time it looks really good, they sell it. And by the time it looks like it's going to break down, they buy it. So it hasn't really made that much progress. So this is, this looks decent. There's no like real momentum breakout stocks, like even like Chevron and XOM and Oxy. They've just been in the same range where when they look good, you have to sell them. When they look bad, you got to buy them. And there's a whole lot of back and forth. So, but this is better than looking like the IWM. The IWM, you have to look at this weekly chart. The IWM, breaks this area. Chances are, I don't think, the market's probably not going to like it unless they just really isolate it to the small caps, which I guess that could happen too. And then we just have 5 names that are hanging in there like an Apple and a Microsoft. But look how strategic this is too. It got rejected in the top end of this 2-year range. Then it broke this descending channel, gave a quick pause, came to the bottom end, bounced a little bit back to the moving averages. Now the longer it stays below 177, if this were to break this area, that probably won't be great for active longs in the market. So anyway, so you have all these different divergences, and so you try and add, you try and focus on what you focus on. So I have like my go-to list that I rotate some names in and out, and for me, I try and like put a pecking order of what is still acting the strongest and what's moved down the food chain that's not special, that are just trades. Usually that all changes after earnings season based on the best earning reaction. So earnings season just started. Again, we'll look at Netflix and see if it could, 392 to 395 will be some resistance. So see how it handles that spot. We'll see what the gap is for tomorrow. Then you look at Tesla, and very similar to 229 down 12. Will it make a low in the first 5, 15, and 30 minutes or not? That's what I'll be watching for today. Here are those levels. Does it open below the 200-day EMA and then come back above it? If it doesn't and I have a big hole here, do we see 220 then 212? So a lot of things to focus. Don't overtrade. Look for your divergences, look for your areas, and just pick and choose your spots carefully. If you make really good money in the first half an hour, you don't need to give it away the next few hours. Historically, I've always made 80% of my money between 9:30 and 11:30. That's when you can figure out what charts are the strongest, where's the over emotion, what's going to go from red to green, what could push you a chart pattern, and then the rest of the day, sometimes they lose their memory from hour to hour, from day to day, and it's easier to lose. And then you have to know where the VWAPs are, right? The VWAPs are very important. Midday you have a big move, and the SPYs or the Qs of your stock's really far away from the VWAP. Do not be buying that stock, because chances are over an hour or two it floats back to the VWAP, because that's where all the orders are. They're all been given to the computers. Not that many sales traders out there anymore. So a lot of the little mechanical things you have to think about as a manual trader. And even last night we were just talking, there's not that many manual traders left out there. So, you're against the machine. So figure out what the machines are doing based on certain relationships and play along. Don't fight them. Anyway, so I appreciate you guys. It's Thursday. We'll see what today brings. The SPYs and Qs are up a little bit now. 12 o'clock, you have Powell. Rates are a problem. So again, you want to watch the TLT. You want to see if the TLTs can reclaim that spot, which is 83.60. We'll see it. Does Powell sound a little more dovish or hawkish, and we'll get some kind of response at 12. I'm not going to leave today and go do my workout at 11:30. I'll wait to see what happens with Powell for 30 minutes, and then that's probably when I'll take my little break. But anyway, that's that. Just keep saying, my friends, keep your process strong. Keep doing things to blow off a choppy day, because there are certain trading periods leading to much better ones. And I'm not going to, so I'm already at my time frame. I have to put like 40 charts together for the alpha team, play a little music, get my charts posted for all access, and I'll post a few at public also, and trying to figure out a few better ways to do this, where I used to be able to talk to you guys and say hello to my friends around the world, but now I'm just kind of like talking to this little camera here, and I feel a little alone. Yeah, there's a little alone. Oh, rest in peace, Burt Young, Paulie from Rocky. Yeah, you guys remember Paulie? He passed away. Here he is, with the Rock. Anyway, live your life, because once your number's called, you don't want to be laying there watching yourself down there with a lot of regrets. Regrets aren't fun. Better off taking some chances than having some regrets. But do it in a calculated fashion. All right, I appreciate you. Have a good day, guys.